Salome back. So, sorry, I didn't. David is usually busy performing. I'm not graced with his calls as often these days during the week because he's super busy out hustling on the streets. How he rolls, man. He is a hard worker, let me tell you. He is a hard worker, and he has been hustling the streets. And Alec Baldwin tipped him $200 the other day. Super nice guy, apparently. I always thought he seemed to be. I'm pretty sure it was Alec Baldwin. It was one of the Baldwins. Yeah, it was Alec. I'm pretty sure it was Alec. It's the one that was on that. I can't even think of the name of that show. With the one in the show with Tina Fey in it. You know what I'm talking about? That guy. I think that's Alec Baldwin. Anyway, that guy gave David a $200 tip, I believe, and said some really nice things of encouragement to David. There's a lot of celebrities that are fans of David, including Donald Trump and his sons. In fact, in 2020, he was on tour during the whole, before the coronavirus got big. It was right before that, when people were rumors about it and people were kind of freaking out, but it hadn't gone lockdown crazy yet. And he was on tour here in somewhere in the United States, but I don't think it was abroad yet. He had just gone. They ended up going to England or the UK, and I don't think it was there. It was before they went there, I believe, on tour in 2020, before their tour was cut short in March. And Donald Trump's sons, apparently, this is what David told me. His sons were at one of his shows, and they asked David if he had anything nice to say about their dad, and he did, and he said some nice things about him. And everybody booed him and left, except for this Trump sons. Now, you have to understand that Jonah hates Donald Trump and is very far left. I don't care what I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I disagree with you either way. I'm not either one, but he is real far Democrat, and it's just like brainwash level. And if you are question anything that of a leftist agenda or that whatever their fad is that they're protesting or against, if you even so much as question it, or certainly if you oppose it, you're the brainwashed one and you're a pro-Trumper or whatever. I did not vote for Trump. I'm a libertarian, although I don't dislike Trump. I did not pick him as a president. There's certain reasons why I liked him as a president. There were some things about him that I liked. There were some things I really did not like. And I don't vote for Republicans because it's not that I wouldn't if there was a Republican that was being constitutional, but neither Republicans or Democrats are constitutional in any way anymore. And if we're just all of us are in denial about that. David is also a libertarian, and he is registered as that. I'm not just saying it. You can look it up if in records or whatever. Although he did not vote libertarian because that was not he told me that was not, he did he had to do the mail-in voting, and because I don't think in-person voting was even available. If it was, not to his knowledge. And in the mail-in votes, libertarian wasn't listed according to him. Now, maybe he missed it somewhere. I was like, surely it's on there. He tells me it was not, which is, how is that a fair? How is it not rigged? They say that voting libertarian is throwing away your vote. I say if you're voting for lesser of two evils, you're not only throwing away your vote, you're like literally cowering and enabling, if not contributing to the problem, if not sheer evil. In my opinion, you're just enabling the disease. You're enabling this addiction to the toxic relationship we're in with our government right now. Okay, not an anti-government in any way, shape, or form, unless it's an ungodly, disorderly, unjust government. Then I'm against those kind, but I'm not against government. I'm not an anarchist. Certainly, I'm not. There is government is God ordained. God, our human governments are just are mimicking the government of the hierarchies that we are governed, whether we realize it or want to acknowledge it, or it's like germs, whether you believe in them or not, they are still going to make you sick if you get, they'll still make you sick if you're infected with them. There's ways to fight them off and all that, but if you just sit and pretend like they don't exist, you're actually more vulnerable to being overtaken by them, because you're ignorant of how to prevent something that you aren't even aware is. Anyway, I know I'm babbling. I actually meant to come on here. Oh yeah, I was talking about David and how he's a libertarian. Oh yeah, I was telling you about the Trump thing. Yeah, so they all jump. So I don't know who he voted for. I didn't ask. I purposely didn't ask. But let me tell you, I know that he's genuinely a friend of Trump, and to the fact that he didn't agree with his policies, according to me. I mean, to what he told me. But he liked him as a person, and he thought he was basically certainly a lesser of two evils if he's had to force between one or the other, is the way he talked to me, the way, from conversation. That's what I was led to believe, but I don't know who he voted for. And I don't want to know, honestly. I don't ask. And he hasn't told me. And I don't want to, we don't talk about it anymore, because it caused a big problem when, if I say or do anything that even sounds anti-leftist or questioning the left agenda or anything that they're whining and complaining about or accusing or whatever, everything they say is either a lie, twisted truth that's been twisted, or just a partial truth. It's not a full truth. It's true with Republicans too. I don't mean to say that they're not, but they at least hide it better. They hide their immorality better. They're both hypocrites of their own things that they say they believe in, but at least I guess Republicans oftentimes claim to have more balanced morals in my, or how I see morality, but, I don't get to decide that, and I totally respect anyone and everyone and how they want to dictate their own life and what rules they want to live by. It's just so long as you're not making me have to live by them if I don't agree with them, because I wouldn't do that to you. I will make you respect my boundaries, but I'm not gonna disrespect your rights to carry out my own rights. I don't have the right to do that any more than you have the right to do that to me. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree and just both do our own thing how we see fit, just so long as it's not infringing on anybody else's rights. It's so simple. Why am I not the president? Because nobody even knows I exist. Most people don't. In this scheme of the world, most people don't. Or else I would be, probably. I don't know. Probably not, though. They'd probably burn me at the stake and call me a witch. That's probably more likely. It's probably by God's grace that more people don't know who I am. Because, man, if I had been born another time, surely I wouldn't have had a chance. I used to think I wanted to be born back in old days because it seemed cool, and then I realized girls like me they were killed. They were not allowed to exist. You either conform to the way it was, or there was some rogue women though that I probably would have broke the mold, just like they did. Actually, I don't know, but I wasn't born then, and I wasn't meant to be born then. I was meant to be born when I was. And I do have to, as much as sometimes I think this time sucks, you know how sometimes you want to go back into another time? You wish you could be born in those times. But if we were in those times, we'd probably hate it just as much as they hated it. And as much as we hate 2020. Because your problems, my paper cut hurts me worse than your broken leg. Hurts me. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure your broken leg probably hurts you worse than my paper cut hurts me, but your broken leg doesn't hurt me at all. Although I pity you. I can't say empathize. Never had a broken leg. I had a broken arm once, and I lived. So you'll heal. And it'll be stronger when it does. Anyway, so what I wanted to tell you was how I always go back to the past and tell you guys all the stuff that I already told y'all, and then don't get to the new stuff. And I don't know why my brain is wired so, like to always repeat myself. But David does that too. By the way, I can't blame it on him, because I was like that before I met him. But I get it. It's like my karma. He does that to me all the time. He'll re-explain the same things over and over again. Although they're still interesting because they're usually interesting stories, but also there will be new parts in them that he'll remember and not have said the last time that they become more and more interesting, and then they end up weaving into the bigger picture of things, and you understand things that didn't make sense. Anyway, the thing with David Liebe Hart. He is an enigma. I'm telling you, all of his fans, if you know him, if you follow David, if you're a fan, I know I'm probably a little more obsessed than most people with David. I would love to find somebody as obsessed or close to it as me with David in a well, I don't know if you could say it's healthy, but in a more positive way, and not in a trying to steal or exploit him, or there's lots of people that are obsessed with him, but they seem to be in a obsessed with his demise or taking control of his success, or taking from his success, or keeping him from success, mostly like jealously. Or if they can't keep him from it, steal the profits from it. Like he does the work and they make most of the money, or sometimes all of the money. That's what's been going on. But man, y'all just don't even know. That's why I have not been on here. It's just so much. And I'm not going to tell everything because it'll just start more problems. And I've already stirred the pot a lot. And we're starting to have better treatment of David, at least. And letting him at least have more autonomy and profits of his own, that he keeps all of it instead of somebody, or at least what he agrees to beforehand, and not this, yeah, sure, we'll do it like this, and then shift things, and oh well, I had to do this and this, so it's really going to be like that now. And he's just like, that is not how you manage someone. This is the thing with David. David would be uber rich right now with success if he had had a better manager a long time ago. And he has never once had a real true manager, like in the professional way. He's had people claiming to be that, but they're not licensed, first of all, and they aren't qualified. They are just greedy, parasitic people, which is, oh yeah, that's what I was trying to talk about, was that the reason they have these laws, which as a libertarian, I'm in as little. We have a constitution and we need to stick with that and let the people kind of figure out the rest, and making state laws, extra state laws to, just starts chipping away at more and more freedoms that really could have been worked out within courts already. We don't have to make laws to make everybody live by certain things. And it gets to where people start falling through the cracks when there didn't need to be cracks to fall through to begin with, if we were all accountable to our own taking control of our rights, and when they're infringed, doing something about it, taking it to the courts without having to buy an expensive lawyer. That's where government was originally set up to be like, and it's changed now, and only because the people have allowed it. We've allowed it. Because under the Constitution, we have every right to change it and stop doing this silliness, especially considering most of it is blatantly unconstitutional. Some of it's constitutional, but it just is dysfunctional. It needs to either be let the public handle it amongst themselves, or it needs to be handled more consistently and fairly and efficiently. And we're wasting government funds on sloth, bullshit, welfare, pretend to be welfare, pretend to be things for the public that are actually just things that fund other people's pockets, the lobbyists and people with certain agendas that, give kickbacks and fund these career politicians. Y'all know what the story I'm saying. The point is that there is a law. There is a law in California that I can see why they have it there, because of California being a major hub of the entertainment industry in Hollywood. That in order to be a talent agent in any capacity, when it comes to talent, whether it be music, acting, that kind of stuff. If you're managing their career in that capacity, not merchandising, and someone out of state can manage them if they're not in a state that has this law. Some states have this law other than California, but I know California in particular have this law because so many celebrities get railroaded and abused by so-called managers in the entertainment industry, and not just managers, but we all know, I mean, by now, truly, the people that were saying it's conspiracy theories can see for themselves major celebrities and politicians have been caught up in a lot of really crazy scandals. You know, I'm sorry. I'm getting on a tangent. I'm supposed to be talking about David. Anyway, the point is that there's just a lot of corruption in that industry, and always has been. This is not a new thing. It's just that we have society has changed, and technology especially has changed to record and prove that these things go on. You know, so we're now starting to see that we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg of how bad it is. And by what we're reporting, and I feel like whatever we're told that's truth is only what they couldn't cover up, and then they just take what that is and they try to polish it up and contain contain it to that one person, and cover for all the other people attached to it that have major names, and let that person be the scapegoat, like Weinstein and Epstein. What is it with these Steens and what? You know, the truth is stranger than fiction, and my phone is. Oh, it's going to go dead soon. So I'm going to lose internet because that's where I get my internet from. Anyway, but I just want to tell you, despite all that, I don't know how long I have to say, but long story short, there's a lot in between. You know how I am about stories. So I think I made Absolutely Production understand that they needed to treat David better. That's all I'm gonna say. And I don't think they like me now. I hate it because I really, honestly, I love Tim and Eric, but I've been saying a lot of bad things about them because they're true. And they know that I know, and I let them know that I know. And if they didn't know, David kept telling me that they were telling me to stop saying this stuff. And I don't know if it's really true, if they were or not, or if, I don't think David was lying to me, but I do believe that Vera Drew and Joey Lyons, I don't know who this guy is, but he's apparently the office manager that when they fired, I'm not going to go into. I said I wouldn't. If they be nice to David from now on, and they stop doing the things that were happening, and they clean up their act, and they start acting professional, and they give David work and stop cock blocking him, and they stop getting in the middle of our business and what we're doing, I'll play nice. I'll be quiet. I won't do what I need to do to make sure David is safe and not being abused by them or anyone else. So according to David, the message has been received, and they changed their tune, apparently. I hope this is true and they're not just stringing him along and pretending. But David has said, please don't call him anymore. And they blocked my number, apparently. I don't know. I didn't try to call them back. I gave them the message they needed to hear. And we had a conversation that we needed to have. I didn't have it with Tim or Eric. I still don't know what they think of me, honestly. I just left a lot of messages in a lot of places saying a lot of things that have been going on, because I've went to them the professional and more right way to resolve matters for the last 2 years, really. Since I've been working with David, I handled it like the nice girl, and I just let them, David lets them push him around, and not as much anymore. He says he stands up for himself now when I help him, but when I stop helping him, because Jonah tells him to stop talking to me, so he'll, and I don't even think it's that he's willingly not talking to me. The last time, I don't know if y'all checked out the last thing I said, but he had some of his friends, David recognized them as friends of Jonah, came to his apartment with a gun, put a gun to his head, and made him write me scribbled this letter where he scribbled it on the back where there's like lines where you're supposed to write and then blank on the back. And he wrote on the blank part and it looks like somebody wrote it under duress. And I just know me and David's relationship and how he normally communicates. And even if he's truly upset with me, he is much more wordy and explanatory. He wouldn't just say something mean with no real explanation and say something that's just not true. It just wasn't like him. And at first I actually believed it, and it made me cry, saying he didn't want to work with me, and he never did. I got that, I think, in March. It was right after I had caught David's pretending to... He was doing some kind of tour online with David, but David didn't know about it and was not making any money off of it. And it's just some bullshit video that he captured of David at some point in the past. It wasn't even like anything live. I didn't see it. I don't know what it was, but I know the kind of stuff that he does with David, and they're stupid. He doesn't let David really be and say what he wants to say and really do what he wants to do. He puts, because he doesn't agree with them. And he's really against Christianity. He's really against a lot of the things that David is, that are aligned with David. He's against the things that David is for, and for the things David's against, and claims himself as David's manager. I'm telling you, this guy is just a narcissistic parasite, and he doesn't have, I'm not saying he doesn't have talent, because he does. But there's something wrong with this guy, mentally or emotionally, that he must not have the confidence in his own self, regardless of his talent, that he has to prey on people. And also he seems to have someone else more famous than him back him for his projects in order for him to feel like, I don't know, because I've noticed, like, well, one, this guy is talented, but he does these dumb things. Like, it's like he's on drugs, and David says he is on drugs. That this guy admits to it to him, hides it from his dad, according to what David tells me. And I have a mind to call up his dad or tell his dad, and that would probably end things. But if I did that, it might upset Jonah to where he'll do something worse to Jonah than send guys to put a gun to his head and make him write me a letter saying that he doesn't want to work with me. And then, Jonah cut off his phone because Jonah, they've been on tour together for a lot of years, and Jonah claiming to be his manager and all that. And so he's got all of David's copyrighted, he's got all of David's account and is making all the money off of them and not sharing it with David, or at least not honestly. Like, David is living literally in poverty and on welfare. He just started getting back to work, and so they cut off his food stamps. I mean, just every turn he takes to try to make his own money without someone siphoning it out from him. They either Jonah or Vera Drew, because she helps Jonah, or allegedly this is could be coming from Tim and Eric, although I don't know. I think Vera Drew and Joey Lyons lie to him and tell them Tim and Eric said, or Dave Newbone said, and it's not really coming from them. They're just lying to David because they're running the office and they've chased off everyone else that is, an advocate of David, and they're abusing him and taking advantage and literally stealing from him and making money off of him that he doesn't know about behind his back, and keeping him from making his own money by sabotaging all his accounts. That he doesn't know how to work his computer, so he has to get other people to do it. And every single person, including myself, that he ever gets to help him, Jonah, and I don't know how long Vera Drew has been involved, but Jonah has always been sabotaging it, and I believe, and David, I believe he's been getting the help from Vera Drew for a while now, but I don't know how long it's been going on. And David says he even thinks Tim and Eric might know about it and be in on it, but I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I definitely know Vera Drew is, and the reason I know is because when Jonah fraudulently now stole it's really David's. I made it and managed it, but it was David's, and the money was going to David's. In fact, no, it didn't have David's credit card in it. It had my credit card, and I'd have to pay David the money. But I used to pay David and Jonah and split it. And first I was just paying Jonah because I didn't know what was going on. I really thought he was really his manager. And I actually thought David was being a little greedy and dishonest by trying to get me to undercut Jonah and not pay him and just pay David. And I'm like, but I originally, Jonah's the one that set this up for me to help you. And I just feel like that would be dishonest of me. If it's truly y'all's business together, which is what it looks like, I don't feel like that would be right of me to just do that. He would be mad, and that, that could cause problems. And I just don't think that would be right. And that's when David started telling me, first he was telling me just Tim and Eric were mean to him. And he just meant they yell at him and stuff. This is before the thing with Vera Drew had happened. I mean, there was other stuff that went on. I don't know how bad it was, but it was mostly just them yelling at him, which is wrong and mean. Like, mostly just not being kind and but that's not, you got to have a thick skin with those guys, I'm sure. So when he told me that, I was sad to hear that Tim would be that mean, but then I wasn't there and I didn't hear it. And I don't know why Tim was mad. Maybe there was something that went on that I don't know about, but I've also seen some things though where I've seen Tim lose his temper, and I've heard people claim that he's kind of not kind of, but is an asshole. And I kind of get that vibe from him. I don't mean this even in a negative way. So I'm trying to be nice now, okay? Because if they're going to be nice, I just want David to be happy. And that's what I told them. If David is happy, because David doesn't want to take them to court unless he has to. But I'm encouraging him that he should except in that he wants to continue working with them. And, I honestly, there is no excuse for some of the things that I know went down. And they were even mean to me for no reason. I did nothing to them, and I'm a huge fan. That's why I'm so mad. Well, no, that and because of some of the things I heard, there's just no excuse. It's very wrong, and I cannot knowingly not do something if I know something truly criminal. Like, I don't mean bullshit criminal. I mean like someone's being harmed criminal, like that going on, especially it could be involving children. That's when I don't care how much I like you, I still love you, but you need help and you need to be stopped. That's how I feel about it. And that's basically, in many different ways, let Absolutely Production know. I'm pretty sure Tim and Eric have heard by now. If they didn't a long time ago when David said, I don't know how soon they truly learned my name. And it could have been a while back. It could have been just recently. When David told me a while back that they were asking me to not talk about what happened with Vera Drew and to not do and to even like hide my working with David, that's when I was like, first of all, if they really said that at all, which I don't even believe, I think that's coming from Vera Drew, not them at all. Because she's trying to take over. Her and Jonah, I believe, have been both working together to take over all of David's accounts and manage them. And they're just taking the money. I have proof and evidence of this. I have 2 years worth of documented evidence of this. And I let them know all the stuff that's been going on, that I've documented. I've been watching and documenting and a witness to this stuff. And it's hit me. It's not just happening to David. Vera Drew and Jonah does not work for Absolute Production. As far as I know, he doesn't have anything to do with them technically, except he does have something to do with Vera Drew. They're working together. Whether it may be secretly from Absolute Production. I'm not saying that Absolute Production is in on it. It's possible. David suspects it's possible. But he doesn't know. And I don't know. And I'm not claiming that. I really don't think, I'm thinking surely they're not that evil. They're just jerks sometimes. That's the feeling that I get. I don't think they're evil. I think they're jerks. But some of the things that I've heard, and I can't help but to believe, I hope they're wrong. I just hope they're wrong. Because if they're true, then Tim and Eric are heroes to me too. David more so, and I care more about David, especially because I know David's character and the kind of person that he is. And he is the most honestly moral person I've ever met. And he's not perfect. He does make mistakes, and he has human frailties just like we all do. But even when he does, he eventually admits it when he realizes it and tries to make it right every time, So that's how I know that this has been consistent. I know David is very eccentric, but I'm eccentric. So a lot of the stuff that he has told me over the years seem so strange that they couldn't be true until I looked more into it over the last 2 years. And it's shamefully true from what I have found I'm not saying everything that I suspect, because I don't know about everything, but enough of it is true that I know that I've experienced coming from Jonah and Vera Drew, the things they did to my business that I set up for David to sell his product so that he can make money outside of Jonah. And I still had to split it between him and Jonah because I'd already set it up unknowingly, thinking that Jonah was honestly giving David the true profits. I would take 10% from it, and that didn't even cover all of my costs. I was doing it because I wanted to, as a fan, because I couldn't afford to support him as in buying lots of merchandise and things. But I have a skill that I can sell, and I can, I can make my own things, and I'll just make it kind of self-supporting. They gave me 10%, which that just helped pay the bills. It didn't even always pay all of it to keep it going. But I sold my own jewelry in between in there using the same thing, and it ended up, I don't know, it ended up not costing me, I don't know what the whole profit yield is. I can't even go back and look at the history because Jonah stole it, claiming copyright it from David. It was me and David were doing this, and I was paying Jonah half. So when things went sour with Jonah and when we started splitting ways, I started just doing it with David, and then Jonah came in and just took it all out, claiming copyright that he had no right to claim, but he forged David's signature and got some thing that looked legit, saying that like Vera Drew from Absolute Production can verify. Vera Drew is nothing. She's just the little she is executive, or I don't know, some kind of had something to do with producing the I Love David show, but she's not the boss. She just did that show with David. Okay, she's not the boss. She doesn't have the right, and she doesn't own any copyright claims, nor does Jonah, nor does Absolute Production. It's David's. David's got the copyright of those puppets and all his stuff back from in the 70s. Okay, so that's why they don't have claims on that. In fact, that's why they don't like me. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying all this stuff, but that's why they don't like me getting in the middle of it, because I found out David, they're using some of David's equipment to make their shows. First of all, that they wouldn't have been able to make those shows to begin with without David's help. As far as I see it, David should be considered a partner and not be living off of welfare. Just barely getting by, with somebody like me, wringing her hands and begging people, please help David. I don't know what else to do to help him. I'm not made of money. I can only do what I can do, to intervene as best I can and use whatever skills I have. Oh, it's dying. So I'm going to see you guys